Peace to all the gods on earth. Welcome back again to Chance. Welcome back to Opportunity. It's your grandmama Bambi. Today within this video, I'm going to be discussing all about biology. All right. So I want to show you the book that I'm going to be teaching on. All right. So here is the book right here. It is called The Biology of Belief by Bruce Lipton. Can y'all see that? Bruce Lipton. Okay. All right. Y'all can see that? Yes. All right. So when I'm finished with this video, or when y'all finish watching the video, I highly recommend that you go to my Play Store. All right, on my Play Store, you click on that, and then you go down to where it says biology, and then you go over and click on Bruce Lipton Epigenetics. Bruce Lipton Epigenetics, all right, and watch that video. So this video right here, I'm going to be discussing all about what is epigenetics. Okay, so for anyone that is new to biology or just know a little bit about it, okay, so biology is the study of living organisms. Okay, so every human being, we're living organisms. Animals are living organisms. Anything that breathe, anything that have life. Plants are living organisms. All right. Okay, so before I actually go into details about everything, I want to break certain things down so you can understand. Okay, so throughout my video, I'm going to be having pictures either on this side or that side. Okay, and this is one picture that I drew that I want to explain because this is very important for you to understand this. All right, so I'm going to be going over this. Okay, so amino acids, okay, a cluster of amino acids make protein. Proteins form our cells in our body, okay, living cells in our body. Cells make tissue, and tissue creates, forms all of our organs. When it comes to our stomach, our bones, our heart, our lungs, our kidneys, our gallbladder, all of our organs, okay? And once all of our organs are formed, okay, then it forms us. We're living organisms, all right? Yes, so I actually want to go into details about this because proteins are the building blocks of life, okay? Okay, so I want to actually start with amino acids, right? So it's important that you know about the periodic table because the periodic table contains all of the elements, all right? There are, on the periodic table, there are a total of 118 elements, okay? So what amino acids is just like a different sequence or combination, right? Compounds or molecules of different chains of amino acids. So it may be like hydrogen and oxygen. So this is what I want to say. The main elements that that is amino acids is actually melanin. Okay, is actually the formula for melanin. Okay, so it is hydrogen, it is oxygen, it is nitrogen, and it is carbon. All right, so a cluster of amino acids form our protein within our body. After our protein is formed, then it forms our cells. After our cells are formed, then a cluster of our cells form our tissue in our body. After our tissues are formed, then it starts to form all of our organs in our body, and then it forms us living organisms, okay? All right, so protein. So our bodies are made of about 150 proteins within our body, okay? Proteins are the building blocks of life that makes us human beings. Okay, proteins are large molecules composed of one or more large chains of amino acids, all right? So cells, 50 trillion cells is over 50 trillion cells that's in the human body, all right? So the smallest structural unit of an organism is capable of independent functioning is your cells, okay? And the fascinating thing about cells is each cells are miniature humans. A person can be cloned from just one of our cells. They're miniature humans, and it contains all of our genetic structure just in one freaking cell. Okay, so when we talk about the cell, right? You'll have your cell, and like I said, pictures is going to be here or there. Now you have your cell, and in the middle of the cell is where you will find the nucleus. All right. Inside of this nucleus is where you will find our DNA. Okay. Deoxyribonucleic acid. Okay. All right. DNA for short. All right. So one thing about DNA, it is our blueprint to build our protein in our body, then forms our cells. Okay. It is a blueprint, all right, a physical blueprint to build the protein within our body, all right. Now, I want to talk about RNA. Okay, so RNA and genes is basically the same. Okay, messenger is called messenger RNA. Messenger RNA is actually, because DNA is a blueprint, the RNA actually makes a copy of the DNA. Then once it makes a copy of the DNA, it goes outside of the nucleus into the cytoplasm. All right, and then it goes into the mouth of this structure organelle. This is called the ribosome. Okay, so the ribosome is the protein building machine. The ribosome is what builds our protein within our body. All right. And once our protein is built, then it forms another cell. Now, one thing about cells that you have to understand is cells divide, okay? Like when it comes to us, every single day we losing millions and millions, hundreds and billions of cells every day. So when you go into sleep, when you go to sleep at night, your body heals itself, it regenerates itself. Now, it's a process that's called mitosis. Okay, mitosis is when one cell literally splits apart and becomes two. Literally, one cell on its own becomes two. Okay, and three and four, and it keeps dividing. That process is called mitosis. All right. So I want to go to explaining about first. I want to go to the first cell. Okay. So before you was conceived, right? Before you was conceived, you started as one little cell. All right. So your mother and your father, you get 23 chromosomes from your mother, and then you get 23 chromosomes from your father. All right. The Big Bang, y'all come together. The mother and the father come together. Okay. And what actually happens is a chemical reaction occurs. Okay. And this is called, when this happens, okay, the 23 chromosomes from your mother and father, when they come together, you form one cell, which is called the zygote. Okay, the zygote is the first cell that is formed. And then after that happens, right, the one cell, remember the process of mitosis is start splitting, dividing, and more cells, right? And you're starting to be created in your mother womb, in your mother uterus. And then after the second stage is zygote, then it goes to the embryo. Then you a little cute little embryo. Okay, and after the embryo, then you become a fetus. And the fetus starts to form within the mother uterus like 2.5 to 3 months, okay, of you being in your mother's stomach, okay? So, I actually want to talk about, hold up. Okay, so this is what I want to talk about, right? So when it comes to the chromosome, right? When it comes to the chromosome, it is 50% protein and it is 50% DNA. So you all can understand, and like I said, you're going to see pictures, okay? So you have the chromosome, right? 23 chromosomes from your mom and dad. You have the chromosome, okay? And inside of the chromosome, you will find the DNA. On the outside of the chromosome, you will see the protein, okay? So it's like they have little structures. You will see like look like little circles. All right, that's just symbolic to representing a protein. You understand? So you will see the chromosome, And you'll see like the X of the chromosome, right? XY. Okay, and inside is the DNA and the outside is the protein. So it's 50% protein and 50% DNA. Now, I actually want to talk about the methylation process of how genes is selected, all right, before you were born, all right. So these genes were selected. Certain genes is selected depending upon or contingent upon what your mother and your father did before you were conceived, okay? So that plays a big part of when it comes to DNA, okay? When it comes to DNA, we all share the same DNA, but what makes me different from you is the different genes that's selected on a DNA strand. All right, so this is like really important because depending on the type of thoughts that your parents had, okay, whether they were vibrating on a low frequency or high frequency, their thoughts play a big part of determining what genes are selected. All right. The things that they put in their body, okay, the food they eat, and anything they put in their body. If it was any type of cigarettes, any type of smoking that don't supposed to be in your body, and I'm talking about harsh drugs and cigarettes, okay, sodas, spring water, being a strict vegan, putting fresh vegetables, getting a lot of sunlight, that all plays a part of the methylation process of what genes is going to be selected that nature is going to choose, okay? So nature chooses the genes, the genes that's going to be selected, all right? It all depends on where you're living in the world, what state, what country, or whatever. And the genes, depending on what area you're living in, nature picks the genes that is going to be best for you to survive within that environment, okay? So yeah, that all plays a part, okay, when it comes to that. All right, so let me see where I want to go to next. Okay, so I want to start talking about the central dogma. All right, so in the book is page 39 where it has the picture. I'm not sure if y'all can see this right here. So the central dogma basically says right here, all right, DNA makes RNA and RNA makes protein. All right, that is not true. That is false. All right, so that is what conventional medicine says, right? Which is not true, which is false. Okay, so the central dogma says your heredity, right? Your heredity controls your life and you have no control over your genes. All right. How can you have no control? Okay. How can you, it says central dogma says your heredity controls your life and you have no control over your genes. How, when genes are a blueprint? Okay. Right. So within the video of Bruce Lipton, it basically explains how, okay, the traditional medicine, okay, conventional medicine says this, and it makes people feel like they're victims, all right, thinking that, oh, I have bad genes, oh, cancer, my mother died from cancer, so I have a great chance of dying. No, that's not true. Oh, my aunt or my uncle has diabetes, so oh, I'm going to get diabetes. How? When DNA, your genes are blueprint. Okay, so what actually controls us, right? Okay, so two. So the central dogma says that genes control your life, right? Oh gosh, I'm such a victim. Genes control my life. Okay, so medical model, conventional medicine, but they say that we are biochemical machines controlled by genes. False. All right. So the central dogma is a hypothesis. What a hypothesis is nothing more than an educated guess. Okay, they say it's an educated guess. All right. So when you giving an educated guess, you're being subjective. It's based on what you believe. It's your opinion. It's not objective facts. It's not scientific facts. Okay. It's just a guess, an educated guess. Okay. So the central dogma, the central dogma is a belief based on religious persuasions and not scientific facts. All right. So this is in our biology books. This is in, going our whole life with being told lies. All right. So, okay. So I want to go on to this, right? So what is the fact of the matter? The fact of the matter is genes do not control our biology. Okay. Our DNA do not control our biology. So what controls our biology? A gene is a physical blueprint to make the protein within our body, which is our building blocks. All right. All right, so I want to explain about epigenetics, okay? So epi means above, and genetics is genes. So what is occurring above the genes, all right? So the control wasn't in the genes, or the control wasn't in the DNA. It was above the genes, all right? Epigenetic control is control of above the genes, all right? The environment determines the fate of a cell, okay? So I want to explain when it comes to all of our five senses, all right? I sight, I see, I smell, I nose, I taste, mouth, ears, hear, touch, everything. All of these five senses is connected to our brain, okay? And we are transmitters of light, okay? So we are receiving electrical signals, all right? Actually, we projecting out our reality. So these are all electrical signals, okay, that is coming into our retina, all right? And we can talk about the optical nerve in the back of our brain is where our vision takes place, okay? So these are all electrical signals. So cells respond to electrical signals, all right? Okay, so I want to talk about receptors. Okay, so what are receptors? Receptors are receivers of electrical signals. Okay, so what are receptors? Your whole body is actually a receptor, okay, because it's a receiver of electrical signals. All of your five senses are receptors. Your hair is a receptor, okay, because this is our antenna. It receives, okay, electrical signals. All right. Okay, so now I want to go over the experiment that Bruce Lipton had did like a while back, all right, where he actually cloned stem cells. So what a stem cells are embryonic cells, okay? Remember I said the first cell is a zygote, then next is embryo, okay? So what he did was he had just one petri dish, right? And he created a culture medium. So basically what that is a petri dish. He had one petri dish and he just put one cell, uno cell, within this petri dish, right? And he actually, when you put a cell in something, like when it comes to our cells is suspended in plasma. Like we have our red blood cells, we have our white blood cells, and then we have our platelets. All three of these is swimming in plasma, and plasma is mostly water. Okay, we made of over 70% water. So of course he had to emulate the environment of the human body. So when he put this one cell within a petri dish, it divided, and like I told you before, that process is called mitosis. So after about 10 to 12 hours, right, that one cell had divided into thousands of cells, okay? And then by the end of the week, he had over 50,000 cells that had actually just derived from one cell. Now, isn't that fascinating to understand about biology and our human body? Like seriously. So what he did was, after he had all those like over 50,000 cells in that one petri dish, what he did was he got two more petri dishes, right? And he divided them. He took some out of the first dish and put some in the second and the third dish. And what he did was he actually changed the environment in each petri dish. When I say change the environment, he put different type of liquids in each dish. Okay. And so the 3 dishes, when he first started off, they were all genetically identical cells in all 3 dishes. Once he added a different liquid substance in different ones in each dish, after a while, all of the cells changed, formed into different type of cells. One formed into muscle cells, another one formed into fat cells, the other one was another one. I wrote it down. It was muscle cells, fat cells, bone cells is what he said, okay? You all go watch the video, okay? Okay, so that is fascinating. So conventional medicines say that we are controlled, that our genes and our DNA controls us. And genes is just a segment off the DNA strand, okay? So they say that we are controlled by our DNA, but how when it's just a blueprint to build our protein and proteins make cells? You understand? It's a blueprint. Just like when you go into an architect office, they have the blueprint of the building that they're going to build. It's on a piece of paper and it's just a blueprint. It's not a physical structure, okay? You understand, to build the protein. So what controls the fate of a cell is the environment, okay? We're cells. We respond to electrical signals, environment signals, and when you have these certain type of electrical signals, it actually affects the readout of our genes, okay? When we talk about the protein, the fascinating thing about protein is protein changes its shape. Okay, it forms different shapes. Once your protein change different type of shape, it affects our behavior. Okay, it affects our behavior, whether it's in a good way or a bad way. Now, he did an experiment on a goonie rat, right? And the fascinating thing about this is that you could have like a mutated gene, okay? You could be a demonic soul, okay, and have demons within your chart, a lot of demons within your chart, but you don't have to read it, okay? It could be lying dormant, all right? By just placing it in the right environment, by just eating the right type of food. Now that's just like crazy to me, okay? Just like mind blowing. And vice versa. You can be a divine being, okay? You could be a complete angel, but all those genes are lying dormant because of the fast food that you put in your body, the cigarettes that you put in your body, the sodas, ooh, especially diet soda. Ooh. Y'all get my point. Just put it pork, put in a whole bunch of things in your body that is toxin, that isn't good. So you can be a divine being and and your protein is just a jacked up, a wrong type of shape, and it's affecting your behavior. And then if it's affecting your behavior, then your thinking isn't right. And if your thinking isn't right, that affects your actions. You understand? So it's really important that you really grasp epigenetics, all right, and watch that video by Bruce Lipton. If you want to purchase the book, and read it, okay? The Biology of Belief by Bruce Lipton again. Okay, like seriously, like this is very important once a person understands this. So it's like, okay, we've been subjected to Babylon. We're literally living in a culture medium. Okay, it's important that you know that everything is fractal in the universe. So if we're cells made of over 50 trillion cells within our body, each and every last human, we're cells here in the body of God. Okay, we are cells here in the body of God. And it's like, what type of cells are you? Are you the red blood cells? Are you white blood cells? Are you immune system cells? Are you a neuron cell? I'm a neuron cell. Are you a cancer cell? You understand? Are you living in tune and harmony with nature? Or are you going against nature? Are you living backwards? Living backwards, evil, the devil. Live is live. If you flip live around, it spells evil. Live backwards, okay? The evil, okay? All right, so yeah, like I said before, we're actually living in a culture medium, all right, here in Babylon, constantly being sprayed by chemtrail, the stuff that comes out the faucets in the showers, we call it water. We can say tap water. We call it tap water. The tap water has so many contaminants in it. Atrazine. If you heard about atrazine, look it up. Fluoride, chlorine, lead, mercury, that's harmful to the body. Why do we call it water when water is H2O? Water is H2O, two hydrogens and one oxygen. Once you actually add another element in it, another substance in it, you're changing a chemical compound, and it really logically, objectively, is no longer called water. So why do we call it water? All right, we put in poison on our body that is altering our genetic code, that is silencing our genes, that is keeping our genes lying dormant. Okay. Yeah, so let's see what else I want to say. All right, so it's one other thing that I wanted to actually mention that is very important that I had left out. Okay, so when it comes to our cells, all right, now way back then, right, scientists had an experiment, and what they did was when it comes to the cell, right, they took out, they, for one, okay, they thought way back then that the nucleus within the cell was the brain of the cell. Okay, the brain, like, they kept the cell going, right, they kept the cell functioning. So what they did was they took the nucleus, they completely removed the nucleus from a cell. Okay, this process is called enucleation. All right, when they literally took the cell, the nucleus out of the cell. And because that's where our DNA is at, our chromosomes, right? That's where all our genetic structure is, but it's our blueprint. So they took that out, and then what they found out that was very fascinating was the cell continued to live up to two or more months. Okay, so the cell was functioning like a normal cell, like was completely unaffected for over 2 months. So that made the scientists a little baffled, like, okay, so if you thought that that was the brain of the cell, if you removed the nucleus, then that means the cell would die, but the cell did not die. So they was trying to figure out, like, what is the brain of the cell. So they come to realize later on that the cell, the brain that keeps the cell functioning and living and thriving is actually on the outside of the cell. All right, which is called the membrane. That's why it's called the membrane, because it's the membrane. Okay, y'all get it? So our skin, okay? Now it's important that you know that your skin is an organ. Okay? Just like your heart, your kidneys, your liver, your spleen, your pancreas, your gallbladder. Okay, all of these organs inside of your body, those are your internal organs. Your skin is your external organ because it's on the outside of your skin. It's an organ. So this is the brain of your body, of your cells, okay? If you have, in my melanin video that I'm going to do, I'm going to talk about the 3 different types of melanins. So the melanocytes, okay, the melanocytes that's around each and every last one of your cells, that is the brain of your cells, okay? And we respond to electrical signals, okay? Now, epigenetics, I want to talk about signal transduction. Now, when you're actually placed in your right type of environment, right, which is between the tropics of Cancer and Capricorn, okay, closer to the equinox, all right, closer to the equator, what is going to happen is us getting the proper sunlight, which is UVB, ultraviolet B sunlight, right? Once we get the proper sunlight and the sunlight hits our skin, this is a process that's called signal transduction, all right? So signal transduction is where it actually hits your skin, goes into your cell, goes into the nucleus, and it involves in selecting the gene activity of what genes is going to be activated. All right, because if you're not in your proper environment, if you're not grounding to the earth, you can watch my video on earthing. Okay, you will be having the genes that's lying dormant. Once you actually placed in your right and type your environment, okay, certain genes will be selected. Okay, and then once the gene is selected from your DNA, okay, and then your protein will start to change shape. That would change your behavior. Now, when the protein change shape, that is what is called a conformational change. Okay, that change shape, bam, build new protein within your body, and you basically activate it. Okay, so yes. So last but not least, before I end this video, I want to talk about one other thing that actually controls the fate of a cell. All right. And this is everything that I said is very important. Okay. So it is our perception. Okay. It is our perception. It is how we interpret reality. All right. So where do we get our perception from? All right. So after I'm finished this video, I'm going into astrology. Okay, because you can't fully understand biology until you study astrology. It's important that you know about the 7 hermetic principles, as above, so below. Above is the astrology, below is the biology. All right. So it's your perception that controls really your biology. It's your environment as well. You can be in the proper environment. You can be in the tropics. I'm speaking from experience, from me observing, right, individuals. You can be, I'm vibrating high in the tropics, just happy, okay, just like excited, okay, and me observing another person in their right environment, but they perceiving reality differently. They're just acting so negative, having so many low vibrational thoughts. And you know what is happening? You're secreting the wrong type of hormones within your body, and it's affecting your biology. Okay, so within your, I'm gonna just touch on this a little bit, but within your brain, all right, is your pituitary gland. Your pituitary gland is your master gland. The reason why it is called your master gland is because that's where a majority of your hormones are secreted. All right, and I'm going to talk more about this in my melanin video. Okay, but okay, so yes, you have your feel-good hormones that can be secreted, right? You have your endorphins and your oxytocin and the serotonin. Okay, serotonin is what's secreted in the daytime with the sunlight. Okay, you have your, what else? You have oxytocin, endorphins. You have it's another one that dopamine. That's the one that I was trying to think of. You have dopamine. Those are feel good hormones that you're able to secrete in your body. Okay, when you're vibrating high, when you're having positive thoughts, when you're in a good mood, you want these hormones to be secreted. Okay, if you're going for a walk for over an hour, looking at the trees, the green and the, you understand, outside, and it just helps with your mental state, the psychology of your mind. Okay, it really helps you. It calms you down. Just the color green is very calming. That's one of the reasons why. Have you ever wondered why the trees are green? It could easily be another color. You understand? So yeah, it's your perception that controls your biology. It's always important that we all going through the human experience. We all have ups and downs. We all have challenges. It's like normal when a person feels sad, sometimes feel angry, but you never want to stay in that mental state for long. Always think of solutions to any life situation that you're going through. Don't call them problems, just call them situations. Never stay in a low state for too long. You understand? Like, don't hold nothing in. If you need to vent, vent. If you're sad, and something happened, you lost a loved one, cry. Nothing wrong with crying, but don't stay in that space for too long. Always get your vibrations back to a balanced state is what I really want to say, like, for real. So it's your perception and your interpretation that truly controls the fate of a cell. Okay, because yeah, we're supposed to be living between the tropics of Cancer and Capricorn, but you can be in the tropics and have a fucked up perception on life and just always looking at things in a negative way, always just, and you're secreting cortisol. Cortisol is a stress hormone. Stress hormone kills. Okay, it kills your cells. Now when you're actually secreting dopamine and endorphins and oxytocin and all these feel-good hormones, okay, your cells are growing, your cells are thriving, your cells are healing. You freeing up your body of free radicals that's in your body. Your body cannot be overloaded with free radicals. That's very harmful to the body. You will start to get cancer and diabetes and a whole bunch of illness and diseases will start to manifest within your body. All right. I think I covered everything. All right. So it is our environment that controls the fate of a cell. Okay. And it is your perception and how you interpret reality. Okay, so if any of you will have any questions, please leave a comment down below. Okay, I think I covered everything. I don't think I left anything out. All right, so peace to all the gods, and I love myself.